Now we're going to continue on with the basic setup steps that are required for this functionality. And just so you know, this is completely an R12 situation. It is not back portable as far as it's documented anywhere for any prior releases to Oracle. We're going to begin with the order management side of the setups and then go into the receivables. Order management, the key setup that you have to get in place before anything else primarily is the enabling of customer acceptance. And this is a new system parameter that needs to be set to Y or yes for every operating unit that you need to complete this in. It's called Enable Fulfillment Acceptance. And by having this set at yes or Y, it allows the AR API to be called and invoke the rules engine, which actually goes and validates all the sales order lines to apply the customer acceptance rules and or assignment criteria as needed. The next setup that needs to be completed is pertaining to the responsibility menus. There's two key functions that need to be enabled within your responsibility menus for users to be able to perform explicit acceptance. The sales order fulfillment acceptance function security and the sales order update acceptance attributes function security. Both of those need to be tied to your menus for users to be able to complete that function. Another setup that is a nice to have for your users in terms of their ability to view data and process it relative to customer acceptance is enabling the customer acceptance fields within the appropriate folders. Both the sales order and the quick sales order organizer and lines both have the fields to be added in their menus. On the sales order form line regions, both in quick and standard, this information is housed in the others tab. The final setup that's order management related is tied to the function security in the menus that I talked to you about. The users to perform explicit acceptance, they need to be able to A, have access to the actions that'll get them there, which is the function security, and then B, they need to have access to order information portal to actually then perform the explicit acceptance. The way a user has access to the order information portal is by having that responsibility added to their user definition. The other caveat to know on the order information portal is you need to determine which type of user will be having access to perform this acceptance. External users are the actual customer. And if it's an external user, they need to be tied to a contact within their organization. Otherwise, they'll have access to see everyone's sales orders and potentially accept them if they're customer acceptance enabled. Internal users, such as an internal customer service representative, can be left wide open and it's just access to whoever they need to support. If the portal responsibility is not added to a user would get the following error message, basically saying they don't have correct privileges, please contact your system administrator, and they would need to have that added. Here are some screenshots of the related order management setups that I was explaining to you. The one in front of us now is the actual list of the customer acceptance data fields that can be added to the order management forms in terms of the folder tools mechanism. Here's an example of some of the folders added to the sales order line organizer view. I've changed some of the column prompts so they're more user intuitive to me, as well as the default Oracle names are a little long, so to me, to get more in my view, I've changed the prompts and shrunk my fields to make it a little bit more intuitive. One column I could have added after the actual SCD, which is actual ship confirm date, is the customer acceptance event expire. And that actually would tell me what event is related to the CA, which is customer acceptance expire days column. For example, ship confirm or proof of delivery. So it would be good to have that additional column in the view. I just neglected to throw it in my example. Now we're in the final setup, and these are the setups related to accounts receivable and revenue management. The first part of the setup is to create revenue contingencies. And as we go forward, you'll see the revenue contingencies are referred two different ways on the financial side of the world, and then by a different name within order management. So on AR, they're revenue contingencies and or deferral reasons, and within order management, they're referred to explicitly as acceptance name. So first of all, you'll create a revenue contingency, which is basically just a rule saying where you want to apply this or what type of rule you want to apply. So, for example, in the stuff we've already covered terminology-wise, I'd like to create a pre-billing implicit deferral reason. And then you tie it to invoicing because it's pre-billing. And then if you'd like to, because it's implicit, you need to define an event and then the expiration value. So you would set that up for the contingency rule definition. Then, after that, you have the capability, which is not required, but you can set it up to create assignment rules and link them to your revenue contingency and or deferral reason. And that would be the example of saying, okay, for business world, at ship to site 1, 2, 3, 4, I want any order that comes through my system to always have customer acceptance of pre-billing implicit based on ship confirm date. And that creates a link to that rule, and every time orders come through, the order management is going to call the AR API and have that information default in automatically based on that rule assignment. Here's an example of the screen to actually create the revenue contingency. You'll notice that you start out from the revenue management navigator, which is in the forms, and when you launch into the contingency definition, you actually go into the HTML form. This is actually where you can see all the rules or all the contingencies that are defined. You can create rules to go with them, or you can create additional contingencies and rules going forward.